The bar was loud and busy. The three young men were dressed in semi-formal clothing and already several shots deep when they decided to open their letters. Peter was the first to speak. Tell me again why we started drinking before opening our letters? Marcus put his hand on Peter's shoulder and said, Pete, 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 you beautiful son of a bitch. These are our letters from Stanford. They do, in fact, tell us whether the last 4 years of our collegiate educating were worth it, or if, in fact, they were a complete waste. If we get accepted, then we'll want to get drunk. And if we get rejected, we'll want to get even more drunk. Now, either way, we're halfway there. They toasted and took another shot each. Cole spoke out this time. Hey, before we open these letters, I just want to say a few things. I know that none of us really had families growing up, other than Mark's mom. Peter cut in. How is she doing? Not good, Marcus replied, shrugging his shoulders. Cole brought the conversation back around. The woman is a saint. And they all toasted before Cole continued. The point is, you guys are the best family I could have ever asked for. No shit. And no matter what these letters say, I love you guys. I remember the exact day we met, Peter said, continuing the nostalgic conversation. It was a Tuesday, and it was the first day of the 4th grade. You guys were both already in Miss Glover's class, and then I was transferred in. You guys looked at me, and I thought for sure you were going to beat me up after class, but you didn't. It was that little rich, snobby kid, Kyle something. Kyle Jensen, that little jack-off. Marcus finished the thought for him. Yeah, Peter continued. He started wailing on me in the hallway because the teacher put me in his seat, and then you guys came out and helped me out. He never messed with me after that. Cole jumped in, smirking. Yeah, he didn't give anyone trouble after that. It's hard to beat people up with 2 broken arms. Hard to wipe your ass, too, Marcus added, and they all laughed. Right, Peter agreed, even if he didn't agree with the means behind it. Then high school, then our undergraduate degrees, even though some of us, he looked at Cole, had to spend a year in community college first. Cole flipped Peter off and said, yeah, well, we couldn't all qualify for full-ride scholarships. Some of us had to pay our own way through, and having a day job sucks. Right, Mark? I don't know what you're talking about, Mark said back. I love my job, helping old people find the power button on their keyboards. Peter looked thoroughly confused. Keyboards don't have power buttons. Try telling them that, Marcus said as he tried to keep them on track. Enough. Let's open these letters. They all cheered as they ripped their letters open, and then it was silent. Their eyes moved feverishly back and forth as they looked for their answers. Cole was the first to find his. We have decided to pursue other candidates. He didn't get in. He wasn't good enough. Just like when they applied for those scholarships, he was the one that fell short. He looked up and saw the other 2 still searching for their verdicts. Then a wide smile broke out on Peter's face. He had made it. It was a testament to how deeply they cared for each other that Cole wasn't envious or spiteful in the least bit. He was simply happy that they had accepted Peter. Then, shortly after that, Marcus let out a laugh and slammed his letter onto the bar, causing several people to turn around. Suck one, Miss Pennyworth. This little retard just got into Stanford. Well, don't keep me waiting. What about you guys? Peter folded his letter back up and said, Of course I made it, while laughing. There's that humility we love to see, Cole said. Looks like we're the 3 newest members of Stanford University, gentlemen. Okay then, Peter said, standing up. What, are you leaving? Cole asked. Yeah, the party's just starting, Marcus agreed. Peter started to put his jacket on. No, I just have a celebration gift I wanted to give to you guys. I was just waiting to open our letters first. Marcus looked up at him and said, I don't know why you still wear that thing. He gestured at his jacket. It had a motorcycle on the front with the words Harley Davidson on the top. Peter smiled. Well, believe it or not, being an IT guy hasn't landed me a lot of dates. So I figure, what's manlier than a Harley Davidson jacket? Cole took the opportunity, actually owning a motorcycle. Peter said, I'll tell you what, if you get me a date, I will go and buy a motorcycle. Be right back. And he walked off towards the front of the bar. Cole flagged a waitress down and asked for another couple of rounds for the 3 of them. Marcus looked at the waitress as she walked away and said, Do you think we could get her to go out with Pete? Because I'm going to need to borrow that motorcycle as soon as he buys it. They looked at the waitress again and both laughed. Speaking of girls, Cole said, Pete had another mean one at work. Gave him the whatever treatment. Let's not mention. The gunshot rang through the bar, causing silence to fall over all the tables and conversations being had. Marcus and Cole looked at each other, and their eyes widened. "Peter!" they shouted in unison as they bolted for the door. Once the two had burst out of the front of the bar, they saw him. Peter was laying on the ground, half on the sidewalk and half in the curb, a pool of blood starting to run to the drain only a few feet from his head. "No!" Marcus shouted as he fell to the ground beside Peter. Before Marcus knew what was happening, Cole took off sprinting to their right. Marcus barely made out the man that Cole was chasing. He was already a good 70 yards away. Then both the man and Cole disappeared around the corner. "Mark," Peter said, a faint line of blood running from his mouth into his hair. "Yeah, Pete, I got you," Marcus said as he pulled Peter up and held him in his arms. "I'm scared," Peter whispered. "Shh, I got you. It's going to be all right," Marcus said, his voice shaking as warm tears fell from his eyes. "Remember when they used to transfer me to a different orphanage and we wouldn't see each other at school for weeks?" "Yeah, I remember." Marcus's voice shook. The tears were now uncontrollable. "That always terrified me," Peter said, a half smile on his face. "This feels like that." The smile faded. "Am I going to be okay?" "Yeah, buddy, you're going to be fine. I promise." Peter began to say thanks, but the word turned into a gurgling sound halfway through and was left unfinished as his head drooped down into Marcus's chest.